Presentations on seizures. We're going to talk about managing active seizures, managing patients who are postictal following a seizure, being prepared in case they have another one, and investigating the various causes. Here's our standard approach. We're going to do CVO after we make sure it's not a code right away, and do some urgent interventions, maybe some airway opening. Probably don't need to ventilate these guys, although a little blow by O2 wouldn't be a bad thing. And I think you just have to be ready for the next seizure. Although many patients don't seize again in front of us, I think we need to be ready for that. And certainly if they're still actively seizing when we arrive, that's an emergency. That's almost by definition status epilepticus. If they're still seizing by the time we get there, or they seize again in front of us, that's a big, big, hairy deal, and we got to get it fixed up pretty quick. Our top priority is to stop active seizures. We like IV benzos, although if they're actively seizing, that's a real challenge to get that IV. And so the IN route may be what you use initially, but I think you still need to get an IV. Most services are going to keep their benzos, whether diazepam, midazolam, lorazepam, whatever, they're going to keep those in the NARC box, the controlled medications, lock box. So bring them in with you. If you know it's a seizure or you hear it's a seizure, bring those in from the truck. Keep close track of them. Don't leave them around. They would be real fun to sell on the street. And so it would be very embarrassing for you to bring them in and be all prepared and then forget and don't take them with you. You're going to want to give these IV. And so if you put your IV in the AC space, well, good for you if you've got an easy IV. But once they start seizing, that AC IV becomes unusable in many cases. So try to go a little bit lower for that so you don't end up having to go IN even though you've got an IV in place. If you're encountering a patient with his first time seizure, that's a big deal. That's a bleed or a tumor or something very scary until proven otherwise. So treat those like an acute stroke. We need to get going. This is a neurological emergency. First time seizures, unless they're febrile, but first-time seizures are a huge deal. Consider all your possible causes. Don't just lock onto the first one you come up with. It's very much like our altered mental status approach. Check their glucose, check their temperature. Patients seize from hyperthermia. They can seize from being hypoxic. They can seize from being hypoglycemic, or it can be a neurocatastrophe going on. So check everything and be ready. If your patient is no longer actively seizing, and it's not real clear on whether he did seize or not, a lot of them will bite their tongue, bite their lip, have some oral trauma, lose control of bladder, very commonly associated. Just because you see oral trauma and urinary incontinence doesn't mean they had a seizure 100% of the time. And you can have a seizure and not have either of those. So the presence or absence doesn't absolutely rule it in or out, but very common that those things go together. Head trauma can be a cause of seizures. Look for it. Examine your patient. Look for head trauma. Feel for head trauma. And let's be very, very aware of rising intracranial pressure. That can trigger a seizure, and that would be the first that we really had any idea. So thinking subdural hematoma or a cerebral aneurysm or something where we really aren't sure what happened, but the next thing we know, the patient's seizing, and that's what brings us to the scene. So your history and physical, field neuro exam, look for head trauma, get all the vitals, and try to extract as much history as you can. Put the picture together, check them out completely, and be ready for them to seize again. And again, if it's a first-time seizure, you need to get going. If this is a seizure patient who didn't take their meds, well, that's pretty standard. People that have seizures really are pretty stuck with those meds. Those meds are costly. They have a lot of side effects. And so sometimes they just stop taking them. If you stop taking your anti-seizure meds, then you might have a seizure, and then we get involved. That's more of a known cause. I'm not really into dry running those people, but if that happens, that happens. But the first-time seizure certainly is clearly different than that. Febrile seizure is a seizure due to elevated body temp. We typically think of this in kids. We should also think of this in patients who are doing stimulants, ecstasy, or meth or cocaine. They can become malignantly hyperthermic So we want to cool these guys down, but we don't want to make them shiver. Shivering, of course, adds body temp. So we want to do things to do passive cooling. So use radiation, get clothes off of them, use conduction, put cool things on them, use convection, blow cool air over them. And we just don't want to cool them so quickly that we make them shiver. And then in the pediatric population, a lot of services will carry some acetaminophen or ibuprofen. While we can't really prescribe those, we have those available, and we can assist with those febrile seizures. Febrile seizures in young kids are really scary for the parents. It's not that big a deal overall. They're usually self-limiting in one time. Doesn't mean the kid's going to have epilepsy, but we should make sure that they're not hypoglycemic, that it really was hyperthermia that caused them to seize. Eclampsia, another special case. This is the pregnant woman that's seizing. If they're pregnant and they're seizing, we're going to assume it's eclampsia. We're not going to use benzos. We're going to use mag sulfate. Mag sulfate you have to dilute. Mag sulfate dosing is not something that everybody knows off the top of their head. So an eclamptic seizure is a big deal because you're almost behind the game. And so if you can assess that your patient is pre-eclamptic, then you should get ready. Get your mag out. Get your head in the game in terms of how you're going to give that mag. But once they seize, then it becomes time to act, and benzos are not the answer. And mag's going to have to go IV. You're not going to be able to get the IN route there. So you need that IV in a good, accessible place. Then the other thing that's not very intuitive is that even recently postpartum patients that seize, even though they have delivered, they are still considered to be eclamptic seizures for several days, if not weeks, afterwards. And so if you're not sure, get on the phone real quick and get some direct medical control advice on what to do. But recently postpartum patients that seize are almost always treated as eclampsia. So here's a quick takeaway. Manage your CVO. CVO, 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 and then investigate. So let's open those airways. Altered mental status patients should not be snoring. Basically, there should be no snoring. Snoring is an obstructed airway. Fix it. Don't let your patient sit there snoring. It's unacceptable. Do a physical exam. Don't just get vitals. Do a field exam and examine your patient. IVs in the AC space, not going to help you when the guy's actually seizing. They're probably going to be unusable if they even stay in. First-time seizures that aren't febrile are a big, hairy deal. That's an intracranial bleed or a stroke. That's a neurocatastrophe going on. Move those patients rapidly, call it a code stroke, and get ready for them to seize again. If you know the patient seized, take your narcs into the scene and hang on to your narcs. So that's seizures, quick and dirty, fast as we can go. Hope that helped.